You won't believe what happens when you move in. Chapter 1. The Silent Whisper. I stepped out of the car and onto the cracked driveway, my eyes scanning the weathered wooden house before me with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The old Victorian home had been my grandparents' sanctuary for decades. Now it was to be mine. At 20, I finally decided to take a break from college to focus on my studies in peace, a chance to reconnect with the books that consumed my life during those sleepless nights at school. Little did I know, this refuge would bring an entirely different kind of chaos into my academic routine. The once grand estate was now a labyrinth of memories, whispers, and inexplicable events waiting to ensnare me. As I carried my bags through the creaky front door, dust particles danced in shafts of sunlight filtering through the grimy windows. A musty smell enveloped me as if welcoming me home. My grandmother's antique furniture covered each room, a testament to bygone days, yet still remarkably well preserved despite years of disuse. The walls bore witness to stories my parents had whispered about, the laughter and heartaches, the joys and struggles within these stone walls. They spoke of strange happenings, of whispers in the night that sounded like hushed conversations from another room, but were never there when I searched. My mother would often speak of a sorrowful melody she'd heard, a lullaby only sung once upon a time by my grandmother. She mentioned it with a flicker of fear, her eyes darting as if remembering something too terrible to share aloud. The first few nights passed uneventfully. It was a relief. I had hoped the urban legend surrounding this house was just tales spun for entertainment's sake. But then came that night, a Tuesday. Darkness clutched the room tight around me like an icy embrace when it should have been broad daylight outside. My stomach fluttered as I read by a desk lamp, surrounded by piles of texts and notepads. Whispers breached the silence. They seemed to originate from everywhere, yet nowhere at once. A soft murmur, almost indistinguishable words that made my skin prickle. Heart pounding in my chest, I scribbled down the exact time. 3:47 a.m., and a few garbled phrases. The voice was female, and though it sounded old, there was an unmistakable longing beneath each word. Find the key, love, don't leave. Doubt crept in like frost on glass as I questioned my sanity. Perhaps the isolation had taken its toll? I tried to push it aside, yet other nights found similar entries in my journal. 12:15 a.m., stay here, don't let them take you. The phrases evolved, more urgent and frantic with each passing day. A chill crept over me, as if unseen eyes monitored my every move. One morning, when I entered the kitchen to brew coffee, a porcelain doll sat on the antique dresser where it had never been before, a family heirloom from generations past. Shivers coursed down my spine as I replaced it gently back in its storage box. The air was heavy with secrets, thickened by time and tales untold. A sense of unease mounted as I ventured deeper into my research. My grandparents' lives were shrouded in mystery, a silence they chose to keep. Their stories, now mine to unravel, seemed tied to the haunting presence. In old photographs, a key was visible tucked into a pocket on one of grandfather's coats. Perhaps it held more significance than I knew. As I sat amidst the grandeur and shadows, sipping my coffee, I heard them most clearly, a soft chant, whispers laced with longing and longing to be found. Determined for answers, I unearthed every journal, diary, and photograph stored away in closets. Amidst a pile of yellowing newspapers, an obituary caught my attention. Their passing on the same day, decades ago, due to tragic circumstances. The funeral was scheduled, but never attended. No explanation followed. leaving me with more questions than answers. That night, as I settled into bed, the whispers intensified, now unmistakable phrases woven into a melody. Her words, my grandmother's. Find a key, love. Don't let them take you. Staying here, it's too late. I rose, heart hammering against ribs, and rushed to the attic. The old trunk had been locked away for years, but with shaking hands, I finally freed it. Inside, a single item. An antique key glinted on a velvet pillowcase. Embracing this enigma further, I ventured down to the cellar, my flashlight casting eerie shadows across aged photographs and forgotten trunks. There, hidden in the cold stone wall, a secret compartment, my grandmother's lullaby sheet music. Chapter 2. The Forgotten Lullaby. The melody danced on my fingertips as I played it for the first time since discovering it. The same melody echoing through night silence. The piano keys trembled beneath me as if touched by ethereal fingers, echoing in every room of the house. An unsettling calm settled over me while the final notes faded into an oppressive stillness. My skin prickled. There was an unseen presence. I turned to leave when a soft hum began, a lone note building towards recognition. The lullaby had taken on life. The music swelled, hauntingly beautiful yet ominous. A window shattered somewhere upstairs with a sharp report that reverberated through the piano room. I froze. Each shattering piece of glass whispered to another as it fell, harmonizing with the song's crescendo, a chilling symphony. In the chaos, I reached for my journal and pen. Every movement felt amplified, like an intruder watched from a corner. Suddenly, an icy draft brushed against my legs. My grandmother in her floral dress stood before me, her eyes sorrowful, her face aged but alive. "It's time," she whispered, and vanished as I scribbled the details. Dazed, I looked at my notes. The final entry for that night read, 3:47 a.m., find. The glove. It wasn't just a lullaby. It was an invitation. The next day, digging through old trunks, I found an antique music box containing this haunting melody. When I wound it up, the same tune echoed from within, eerily mirroring what had occurred that night. My grandmother's words reverberated in my mind. Stay here. It's too late. Something had awakened. Research intensified. Every newspaper clipping and photograph scrutinized. Every diary entry under the moonlight. Grandfather's final note mentioned a hidden room, a secret place. Following his cryptic hints led me to an overgrown garden behind a large oak tree. The trunk was buried beneath a sprawling flower bed. The soil was hard as stone, but my hands broke through, trembling with discovery. Dust and leaves pouring in like rain from the sky when I opened it. Inside the chest, that music box and a faded photograph. Grandmother standing at the window of the very room where she had appeared to me, clutching the key. It was time to face whatever dwelled within these walls. Chapter 3. The Last Whisper. The final door creaked open with an unsettling groan. Cobwebs clung to every surface as I descended into the hidden room, hard in my throat. Flickering candlelight revealed a time capsule, a key, old photographs, and her wedding ring on the velvet pillowcase, the lullaby's origin. The music box rested before me, singing its haunting tune. A door at the back opened to an empty corridor leading to a hidden chamber with aged furniture and a single portrait, grandfather, holding this very key, standing in front of it when young. Grandmother stood beside him then, looking into the distance, a woman I'd never seen, my great-grandmother. Her eyes locked with mine as I approached. She vanished too. In that room, I pieced together more than a haunting melody. A family legacy, a love torn apart by the world's darkness, hidden in plain sight. My hand closed over the key, and a door slammed shut behind me. The past was here. They whispered to me from within, urging me forward, taking the first step into an unknown history. The room's final corner revealed a coffin with a note, "Find peace." I accepted it as my own before stepping out, each click of the heels echoing in that space. In the attic where it all began, she stood beside grandfather, a woman I was yet to learn about. "Let go." Her voice echoed as he placed their joined hands on top of an old piano, another photograph from a bygone era. In every room, there they were, fading into memory, each step closer to the living. Their story merged with mine, their love and loss intertwined in time. When I stepped back out, it was dawn, a new door, a life before me. The key now felt right in my hand as their eyes followed, leading towards freedom. Leaving behind what once kept us here was bittersweet, but the lullaby's rhythm faded into the wind. Our family's song silenced at last. I took the final step outside. Sunlight danced with each click of those heels on stone steps that had held their secrets for so long. Outside, I placed it upon her grave beneath an oak tree. No more echoes from the other side now. The music box was opened in the garden. It played one final time, a requiem to what once was. The key's weight diminished as I stood over them, then vanished into my hands. In that moment, our family's song dissolved into memory. It wasn't just a melody, it was the past holding us together. With trembling fingers, the last note of their tale etched across the page. Our own lullaby, forever intertwined with theirs. As sunlight danced over the garden, I felt compelled to return home, a door shut on what had haunted us for so long. The house stood still as it should be silent now. In the great room, music box open on a velvet cushion. The final lone note dissipated into the wind, our legacy of love and loss, finally at peace.